Mga kababayan, emergency. May nangyayaring hindi maganda sa loob ng palasyo. Kanya-kanyang panik at pag-aalala ang bumabalot ngayon sa gobyerno matapos mabuking ang isang napakasikretong meeting sa pagitan ng Malacanang at ng House of Representatives. Body, bakit kailangang mag-emergency meeting sa 10 oras ng gabi o ng palihim? Ano ang napakalaking problema na pinipilit nilang solusyunan bago pa malaman ng publiko? Ayon sa mga impormante, ang paksa daw ng mainit na meeting na ito ay walang iba kundi ang posibilidad ng isang impeachment. Totoo ba ito? Tuloy na ba ang pagpapabagsak sa isang mataas na opisyal? Bukod pa rito, may bali-balita na ang Korte Suprema mismo ang nakialam para ibaba at pigilan umano ang mga hakbang na ito. Kaya pala nagkakagulo ngayon ang mga kongresista. Hindi na nila alam kung paano lulusot dahil nabuking ang kanilang mga plano. Kapag nagkataon, ito ang pinakamalaking eskandalo na yayanig sa kasalukuyang administrasyon. Sino ang naguutos? Sino ang target? At higit sa lahat, bakit nila ito ginagawa ng patago sa mga Pilipino? Outro, ang sitwasyon ay mabilis na nagbabago bawat oras. Huwag kayong kukurap dahil ibibigay namin sa inyo ang mga susunod na detalye. Sang-ayon ba kayo na magkaroon ng impeachment sa panahong ito? Ibahagi ang inyong mga pananaw sa comment section. I-click ang like, i-share ang video, at mag-subscribe na ngayon.
Philippine Competition Commission. Pwede naman siyang pumasok po dito para makita niya ang competition kasi is also market-driven. So wala po akong nakikita na inconsistent dito in order to protect the interest of the country. I don't think DOE is helpless. Hindi po pwede yung 55 pesos after barely 2 weeks naging 121 pesos. Wala man lang tayong ma-check. Meron na, nag-check nga po ako . Sarili ko na lang po para makita po natin talaga because I really cannot believe na lumundag siya ng napakalaking ganon. Unless na kumukuha sila sa Strait of Hormuz talaga. Wala kayong, hindi naman po pwede yun.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Senator, Secretary Garin.
Nako,
As per international...
Garin, ayaw mo pa bang magpahinga? Ayaw mo pa bang magpahinga? Yan ang problema. Sa totoo lang wala ka namang talagang kasalanan. Ang mindset lang talaga kasi nitong mga gabinete ni Marcos Jr. Smooth sailing, business as usual. Ba? Kung merong konting kakurakutan dito, konting pagnanakaw doon, konting kickback dito, ganun lang naman gusto nilang mangyari. Kaya pagka merong ganitong issue na lumalantad, issue nangyayari na giyera sa Middle East, kailangan evacuate ang ganito, kailangan bigyan ng ayuda yung ganyan, nagmamahal ang presyo ng ganito, ganyan, doon ho sila nagkakahindot-hindot. Kasi hindi naman ho talaga trabaho ang pinunta nila dyan sa mga ahensya na yan. Magpakatotoo lang tayo hindi trabaho ang pinunta nila dyan. Ang pinunta lang nila dyan, yung konting kickback dito, konting lagay doon, konting maleta dito, konting suhol dyan. Ganun lang naman ang gusto ng mga yan . Kaya pagka hinahinan sila ng problema ng Diyos ng tadhana, nagkakahindot-hindot sila. Pumasok sila ng medyo bata-bata ang mukha. Magkaroon lang ng isang problema, nagkakaganito ang itsura. Nakuha niyo ba mga kababayan? Yan ang administrasyon ni Marcos Jr. Kahit si Bangag. Pagka-presidente niya, yun na yun. Akala niya smooth sailing na, wala nang problema. Mantakin niyo, wala pa ho siyang Marawi, wala pa ho siyang pandemic, wala pa ho siyang mga malalakas na bagyo. Mahihinang bagyo lang ho pinagdadaanan natin dito sa administrasyon na to. Wala ho siyang Odette, wala ho siyang, basta marami kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo. Ulysses, maraming bagyong dumaan sa panahon ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte na kung dito dadaan, anak ng tokwa, malaki ang problema natin. Kaya magpasalamat po tayo, medyo mahihinang bagyo lang ang dumadaan dito sa administrasyon na to. Hindi ho sila itinalaga sa mga ahensya, hindi ho sila hinalal dyan sa pagiging presidente para sa mga ganitong klaseng problema. Kaya kung tayo ang tatanungin dito, kung meron mang isang individual, isang nakikita natin na posibleng magsalba sa atin, sa mga darating na panahon dito sa problema natin ito, walang iba kung hindi itong si VP Sara. Yan, palakpakan ho natin ito si VP Sara. At sigurado tayo, kung maglalagay ng tao sa DOE, itong si VP Sara, hindi ho ganito kalamya, kagaya nitong si Janet tuloy. Mga garin kasi na to, pero wisyo din sa bayan to
Market on the maps. Between before and up to today, gasoline increased by $79.42, Mr. Chair. Diesel increased by $168.13. And those are combined with all our calculations. Kaya doon po yung base, how much was the increase, and then the increase is being estimated as to the pump price. So anong madadagdag sa linggo na yun, doon po yung basis nito. It's not like the Bureau does not look at it. Check naman nila. But and how we compute that is based on what is traditionally being done, which is the replacement cost. That's an accounting practice. Kasi pag umakyat yung presyo, if you allow them lang half the price, then they won't have enough kasi to replace that. So yun po yung logic na yun, para to put it simply. Pero our monitoring follows naman, may mga benchmarks naman kami. Hindi naman yung pinapabayaan lang and then we let them. Because once we see an irregularity, pinapareport din namin. The administrative or the criminal or the civil part, wala kaming powers doon, no? Pero we can monitor and we talk to them naman, and then they correct it if there's something wrong, or we accept it if they can justify. Pero hindi po, ayoko nang sabihin na hindi po, wala pong ginagawa yung DOE dyan. We constantly monitor, halos every day, every hour na ngayon, para ma-monitor yung maps po. Kasi doon nakapeg ang presyo natin. But if there are prices that are lower in the international market, then we can explore the sources and also reconsider the replacement cost or the pegging of the price on the maps, Mr. Chair.
Yung po kasi sinasabi niyong maps. Ano pong reference na pinag-uusapan natin? Kanina po yung USEC nagsalita, Dubai Plots. Hindi po natin pinag-uusapan ng Dubai Maps Irrelevant po yun sa usapin. Ang pinag-uusapan, ang sinasabi ko po sa inyo, yung price po sa Singapore na nandito ngayon. Bakit po pinipilit natin? Why are we monitoring the maps? Kung kani-kanino, kung Dubai or kung saan. Ang sinasabi ko po, ito na po yung dictated price sa Singapore sa tangki po ng dalawang malalaking refinery sa buong mundo. Petronas and Rotterdam. Ano po yung minomonitor pa natin?
Mr. Chair, the MAPS is the best assessment for price discovery. So, itong plots is a firm na itinayo for the longest time. Ang trabaho niya ay mag-assess dun sa mga spot market, mga mercantile exchange. Doon niya nakikita ang presyohan average for the day. So, marami hong products kasi Dubai, isa din yan na naging popular na hub, and historically, siya na talaga ang hub for the Middle East. So, minomonitor ni Platts at nire-record niya for the day yung price, including yung finished products which starts from gasoline, diesel, kerosene. What our secretary mentioned na tumaas po ang gasoline in a matter of 3 weeks from $78 per barrel to $158 per barrel was the product itself, yung gasolina na po. And then the diesel increase ho in a matter of 3 weeks from $92 per barrel to $260 per barrel, or $168 per barrel increase in a matter of 15 days. In percentage ho, yung diesel price na yan, in a matter of 15 days, increase ho ng 182%. So that's the reason. It's like a price, a triple increase.
Pwede mo bang i-disaggregate yung maps mo? Anong bansa yung sinasabi mo?
Hindi ho ito.
Hindi niya nakikita yung Singapore.
Ito yung mga
ito yung price na
trades.
sinasabi ko, pinipilit mo yung indicators ninyo.
Nako.
I-disaggregate mo para magkaintindihan tayo.
Oh.
Saan
Tama.
bansa yan?
Halos lahat po na nag-i-enroll dun sa
Hindi nga ganun eh. Kung ang indicator mo yung maps na indicative, halimbawa yung galaw sa buong mundo, halimbawa, hindi yun ang pinag-uusapan natin eh. Kung ano talaga yung presyo ng mga refineries ngayon na nandun
Mr.
sa
Chair,
Singapore.
we can produce the detail. Kukunin talaga namin yung per hour, per minute transaction. But the mean is the mean, the average for the day. Yun lang naman ang nilalabas in the end ng plots.
Yeah, but it does
Si Janet ganun, pag ganito, wala na. Mag-resign ka na, madam. Maraming mas mahusay sa yung aawak dyan sa DOE, madam. Sa totoo lang. Akala nyo kasi smooth sailing lang eh. Yan ang problema dito sa kabinete na to. Akala nila ganun-ganun na lamang eh, no? Oh.
it is not consistent with what is the price in Singapore now ng mga tangke ng mga refineries. Alin ang susundan mo? Yung indicative na trend ng maps o yung actual price that dictated by the tanks in Singapore?
Mr. Chair, it's a platform where the buying and tradings are happening. Naka-record ho yung nagbabay, nagtitrade. And then, they end up getting the mean, the average for the whole
Well,
day.
actually, I'm sorry, but actually that is the usual argument used by the oil companies. I'm sorry, sinasabi ko lang, kung ito yung pinepedel nila, ito naman ang bili na tayo ng bili, hindi tayo magkakaintindihan. I am sure ang sinasabi mo are supplied by the oil companies. Am I correct?
We do have a subscription,
Yeah, but
Mr. Chair.
Sa oil
And
companies,
the oil
ang galing
companies
yan.
are also subscribing the
Yan
same.
nga galing yan, di ba?
The same.
Yung ibinabasa mo, galing sa oil company.
Well, there are two known assessment firms. Meron ho tayong, ano yun, Yusef, yung isa, yung ini-introduce sana natin. The Argo.
Ay, nako po. Janet, Sharon! Sakit sa headache na, Brad. Problema yan. Di ba? Oh, asa si Sharon, asa si Janet. Patawag niyo si Janet. Sabi mo sa kapatid mo, DOE Secretary siya, ha? Aliado tayo sa House of Representatives. Tawag si Janet dito kay Sharon. Oy, Sisi. Gaganyan, Sisi. Oh, DOE Secretary ka. Oh, smooth sailing lang tayo dyan. Walang problema. Nagkagera. Mukha ng gera.
Boss. Pero medyo masikat ho talaga yung maps, kaya yung plots. So we use the plots. But the other choice is to go to the platform of Argus. So pwede naman ho doon. Pero because it's highly commoditized, there's no such thing anymore na nagtatawagan na ho yung mga trader. Doon na lang mo sila nagtitingin doon sa platform for trading.
Ginagamit nga natin, kung maps ang sasabihin mo, yung mean of plots, Singapore. Maps din ito eh. Hindi ko maintindihan ba't pinipilit nyo pa yung ibang maps. Singapore nga yung sinasabi ko eh. Ito yung reference natin eh.
Right,
Mr.
Senator.
Chair, we can get hold of the document so we can study the document.
We'll recognize Senator Lauren, and thank you, Senator, for joining us again. I know that you have a lot of good insights and suggestions. So, maraming
Thank
salamat.
you very much, Mr.
Yan na.
Chair, for
Yan na.
convening this very important crisis committee hearing. And yes, I came from the BARM Parliament Forum, and Senator Mig Subiri is there. Yes, I have a question for the DOE based on the pronouncements today. The DOE announced today that it is spending 20 billion pesos to buy 2 million barrels of diesel. But it was said in the hearing earlier, I was monitoring, that it's now 12 billion for 1 million barrels now that we are in a crisis. So pag yung 2 million barrels, so 24 billion, instead of having built a reserve before the crisis. So that's a fact. This came from the monitoring of the hearing and press statements today. The same 2 million barrels would have only cost 10 billion pesos instead of 24 billion because the DOE failed to build the buffer stock. The government needs an additional 14 billion on our oil stocks because we seemingly, correct me if I'm wrong, did not plan ahead. Other ASEAN governments, namely Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, it's a standard practice for them to stockpile oil even at a time when we are not in crisis, but the DOE did not and only started stockpiling oil when we are already in a crisis, unlike our ASEAN neighbors. So, may I hear from the DOE
Yun na.
what is the answer that we're scrambling now to buy emergency stocks at more than double the price than we would have paid before? Buying in an emergency, of course, costs more. Doble ang presyo. Bakit tayo hindi nag-stockpile gaya ng ating mga ASEAN neighbors at bakit ganito ang presyo ngayon? Obviously, because we are in a crisis. Why did the DOE fail in that respect? Or at least that is in my perspective.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Secretary.
Mr. Chair, due to the oil deregulation law, the stockpiling is now passed on to our private companies. That's how it has been practiced. Dahil sila na yung nagdinegosyo sa langis, dun din sila, DOE requires them a certain minimum level of stocks. DOE by itself does not have the funding for this because we only have 2.5 billion per year as budget. It is actually now very expensive for if we do a stockpiling of 1 million barrels, good enough for 5 days, it's about 12 billion. We have the facility given by DBM for 20 billion. We are envisioning na hindi naman kailangan 24 kasi pagdating yan, kung meron tayong oil companies na may kulang na, then we can have them access the stocks para paikot-ikot lang siya. And this is in addition to hopefully that the oil companies are able to stock also their purchases. So ginagawa rin na nila yan. They're doing purchases and we have checked with them. They have confirmed incoming deliveries this week and next week, and they're working on their deliveries for April, Mr. Chair.
Maliwanag bang inaamin ng DOE na hindi tayo, Philippine government, DOE, sabi mo na maski deregulated tayo, urging at least the private sector in preparation for any potential crisis, hindi talaga nag-stockpile at ginagawa niyong dahilan ay dahil deregulated tayo. At sinasabi niyo, pagpalitan niyo yung batas, kung balik sa regulasyon o regulated, ay kaya natin mag-stockpile. Yun ba ang ginagawa niyong dahilan?
Mr. Chair, we haven't stockpiled. The government itself hasn't stockpiled for decades already.
I'm not saying government. When I say tayo, whole of government ito, deregulated, at least may constant coordination and meeting with the private sector, so any potential crisis, just like our ASEAN neighbors, may buffer stock na safe. We're buying now at more than double what we could have bought for 10 billion because we did not stockpile. So I want to understand, is it all to be blamed because of the oil deregulation law enacted decades ago, or dahil hindi naisip ng DOE and it failed in trying to anticipate possible crisis? It's a simple question. You don't need the technical experts.
Mr. Chair,
Aray mo. Oh.
because of the oil deregulation law and also the privatization of this industry, the burden has shifted to the private. Now, the private, minomonitor po namin yan every week on their inventory. The requirement is actually 15 days. 15 days is just good enough para buffer for 2 weeks, pero hindi mahirap din i-increase because of the capacity of their storage and also the price of the product. Kaya dun po nakapeg sa 15 days more or less. Pero now, lucky enough, they have enough for 3 times that, Mr. Chair.
Is stockpiling an act of regulation, or is it just a matter of prudent planning?
Nako.
Hindi naman yan parang naghihimasok tayo sa pribadong negosyo at gagawin natin dahilan ang oil deregulation law at tikom ang bibig at nakagapos ang gobyerno dahil ang batas ginawa 20 years ago. Hindi, pagplano yan eh. Pagsasangguni eh. Pag-uusap eh. Para ano man ang krisis, kaya nga surprise yung nangyari kung tayo ay nakikipag-ugnayan gaya ng ibang mga bansang binanggit ko sa ASEAN, ay hindi tayo masyadong gipit, which brings me to the statement made earlier, which I monitored. Ano ba yung sabi? Tagtuyot? Ano yun? Ano yung sinabi dito? Ano yung sinabi dito? Nasaan yun? We could We could run dry. Yes. I heard it. So because number one, hindi naghanda ang DOE at ang ginagawa niyong dahilan ay ang deregulation law, at dahil hindi tayo nag-stockpile dahil sabi nyo hindi nyo gawain yan, na sa aking paningin ay hindi yan paghihimasok sa pribadong negosyo kung hindi prudent planning. Tapos sinabi ng DOE, we could actually run dry. Tagtuyot, mauubusan, ilan na lang. Paliwanag po ano ang ibig sabihin. Akin na yung salitang yon. Ano ba yung sinabing, tsaktong sinabi? We will run dry. The worst case is that our country runs dry. Okay, sabihin natin, sa 110 million Filipinos, DOE, Secretary, the worst case is the country will run dry. Pakipaliwanag po ang tagtuyot sa sambayan ng Pilipino para po kami maintindihan namin ang paghahandang dapat gawin. Kung ganyan po ang sinasabi ng Department of Energy, hindi pa ba yan krisis? Ayaw pa ba talagang yugyugin ang mga utak ng mga tao sa gobyerno para tanggapin na tayo'y nasa isang krisis? At sinasabi na that we will run dry. Pakipaliwanag po para maintindihan, mapondohan, nandiyan ang chair ng finance, para ang ibang ahensya ng gobyerno ay maghanda pa at masyado pang gipitin ang belt tightening sa paghahanda. We want to understand. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair. Running dry means we run out of fuel and of gasoline. And
Yes,
diesel.
obviously. Teka po. English po yung sinabi nyo, sinalita nyo yon translated sa Filipino. Maaari sigurong karaya kung gusto nyo. Ibig ko sabihin paliwanag, hindi po translation. What I
Aray ko! Aray ko! Aray ko!
mean, what I want the DOE to say is the implications. What does running dry mean in terms of the farmer and the fisher folk and the jeepney driver and all of those in the lower income and middle income, all of us? What are the implications insofar as agriculture, insofar as transport sector, nandiyan ang DOTR, insofar as what are your action plans? Because you said it, not us. The country will run dry. Kung tayo'y mauubusan na ng langis na nagpapatakbo ng ating ekonomiya, gusto namin marinig ni Chair kanina pang alas 9. Anong action plan na hindi motherhood statement?
Yan.
Thank you, Chair.
Secretary Hearing.
Mr. Chair, I can only speak for DOE that what the impact on the industries would be with the other agencies. And sa atin po, as our impact would be the fuel side on the gas stations, and which affects the transport, and then on the power side. The power side, fortunately, we are only using diesel at 3% in our energy mix. So ang most affected dyan would be Napocor, Mr. Chair, the islands. No? So that's why our chair, our president has been hard at work in coming up with alternatives in case different scenarios. On the fuel side, we are currently the effect would be transportation cannot run. We are doing different scenarios to do avoiding that, working with DFA, working with the different governments, different countries, different oil companies, para siguraduhin po that our orders are consistent, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for that statement, DOE. The worst case is that our country runs dry. Tagtuyot ang Pilipinas base sa fuel. The implications, according to the DOE, transport will not run. Kung yan po ang mangyayari, isa lang yan sa implikasyon. Ano po ang action plan na mararamdaman po ng taong bayan na pwede niyong ilahad sa komiteng ito pag mangyari yung worst case scenario that our country runs dry? Ang tubig din, kulang. World Water Day nung isang araw, isa pang issue yan, tubig naman. The water will run dry sa Pilipinas. The country will run dry, worst case scenario, ayon sa DOE, and the transport sector will not run. Having said that, may this representation, Mr. Chair, ask the DOE, ano po ang inyong mungkahi at action plan? Dapat, worst case scenario palagi ang ating mindset. Ganon kami sa national security sa military. Palaging wargaming, worst case scenario. If the transport sector is not secure and will not run because the country will run dry, ano ang action plan ng DOE maliban sa sinabi nyo kaninang carpooling, work from home, Zoom with mayors? Ano pa po?
Mr. Chair. On the inventory level, Mr. Chair, we're doing different scenarios and different contingency plans. First off, sa ngayon, is we are talking to all the oil companies constantly and checking their inventory, making sure that meron tayong enough. Right now, even though we have enough for the next month, we are already working on the next batch. Kaya kinakausap na rin namin yung mga ministers ng iba't pang bansa and looking at PNOC, which hasn't been done before. PNOC, a government corporation, is also looking for alternative routes other than those getting from Middle East. So, yun po isang intervention namin na talagang pinupush makakuha, and PNOC is there just in case it gets too expensive na rin, or it is getting expensive. We are willing to buy as long as there is enough supply in the Philippines. So sinisecure po yung supply. That's our first and main objective, no? Next, now if it's depleting for some reason, we also have different alternatives, and we are already working on this. We're supposed to have a meeting today with for biodiesel or biofuels, to utilize biofuel both for generation of power and as well as for transportation. It's either increase the production, or if they don't have enough raw materials, if we need raw materials, we're still assessing what is the volume that's needed for generation and what's needed for for the cars, Mr. Chair. Kasi there are vehicles that cannot take in 20%, for example, in the blend. So, inaaral po na ngayon and we're coming it with the volume that will be needed. So, prepare na lang namin. The other intervention that we did just recently is, just in case, kung wala na talaga mga Euro 4, Euro 2 can help in the generation of power. That's also an option. And ang other, and then we're also ramping up the renewable energy. Meron pong mga projects na papasok pa lang December, so we're helping them. Target is to have them on grid na by April para pumasok na sila para mabawasan yung pressure sa fuel or kung hopefully matanggal siya sa power, doon na lang siya sa transportation. So that's what